In this video, I am going to show you how I successfully fitted this water filter under my sink. And I opened up the box, and first thing it says is it will only take you literally 5 minutes to fit this water filter. Well, let me tell you, it didn't take 5 minutes. Their online video, if you're listening to this WATER2, your online video is terrible. It's too big for my phone screen, so that's the first thing. You can't actually read everything. And it explained too briefly for somebody who doesn't have any prior plumbing experience to be able to understand how it all operated. And I can tell you that rather than 5 minutes, I brought this back to Andorra just after Christmas, just before New Year. It took me 2 weeks to find out where the on-off tap, which is called a stopcock in English, was in my apartment. So that's the first thing. Give yourself 2 weeks. If you have to ask the letting agent, ask the landlord. Oh, what a palaver. Anyway, got to that finally last week. We have to go down, come on, down to the horrible basement. What you have to do is get in under here and unscrew the cold water outlets. Let's just make sure the water's off. Hot, cold, yep. Leave that open, keep the tap running, but obviously it's not running. The cold water, as I've already established, is on the right, so I'm going to just undo that. Like I said, not a lot of plumbing experience, but I do have a bit. Oh, there's some water coming out, of course there is. So make sure you've got a cloth handy. Undo that pipe where it comes out of the wall. I think a bowl would have been more use than a cloth at this point. Still, never mind, the cupboard will be nice and clean. Right, the one on the left, see these two silver pipes? The one on the left is the hot, the one on the right was the cold, and that's the one I just unscrewed using this tool, which is called an adjustable spanner. So I just used that and I undid the nut on the end there. And this is what I did yesterday. So I got this far, and then it was at that point I realised that these pipes, which attach to my outlet pipe, on my inlet, water inlet pipes on the wall, are not the same size as those provided in the box for the water filter. So you open the box, you get a nice little letter from actual Bear Grylls. I think he's one of the investors. Here's the quick setup guide, and then you can go to there on that QR code to watch a video that was bigger than my iPhone screen, so I couldn't actually watch it very easily, and it was very brief and didn't really dwell on the fact that these may not be the same size as the one that's coming out of, the ones you've got. So that's where I had to go to the plumber's merchant, and he provided me with these two parts. That one's one there, that one there. Right. Okay.
That's all?
Yeah, thanks. No, just one. This is my first time here.
Okay.
Now, because I do actually have a secretly tiny bit of plumbing experience, I know that you need this stuff called PTFE tape, which stops the water leaking through joints. Hopefully I've used enough. It's not sticky, it's just sort of like a film. And because I've done this before, you put it against your screw thread and you just wind it round in the same direction you're going to do up the screw, so clockwise. So this is the part from the box. This is me winding it round. You can see that what it's going to do is tighten up any gaps. Right, chop that off. So I've done 2.5 wraps there. You can see, look, if you look carefully, can you see the shininess of the thread coming through? So I might need more, but you put too much and you can't then do it up. Let's try a little bit more. It's very thin. You just kind of hold on to the end. I mean, this alone, PTFE tape. I remember the first time I used this for when I've done things in the past with screws that needed to be waterproofed. It's not the easiest stuff to work with if you're not used to it, if you aren't a plumber. I could have called a plumber, but I like to figure out how to do things myself, because I just think that you need to learn these skills and then you use them for the rest of your life. Right, so that's onto there. I've already done that side. Now, she says, hopefully this will just don't cross thread it. Hopefully this will just screw on. It's quite tight now. There we go. I'm going to hand tighten it, and then I'm going to get my adjustable spanner and just give it an extra half a turn with that. That would be much better if you had a mole grip, but unfortunately I didn't bring my mole grips with me from England. Right, there we go. That's the adapter on there with the PTFE tape inside, and now that will be the right size, hopefully, to do what it's supposed to do. Fit the other one. Hold that and see how messy this PTFE tape is. There we go, I'm just going to tighten that a bit more. Right, I think that's good. Now I have my 2 pipes supplied by WATER2, made smaller to fit, let's get all that crap off there, to fit my pipes. Need a bit more light, so I'm going to bring my angle poise, which was one of my birthday presents from my lovely husband. And it's, isn't it, look how beautiful that is. I don't think when Paul Smith designed this that he had in mind that it was going to be used for this kind of this kind of project, but there we go, that's better. Now I can see everything better. Let's go back to Bear Grylls' quick setup guide. Right, turn, blah, blah, blah. Attach flexes to inlet and tighten with a spanner. So that's going to be this one with the female end onto the wall. Not only do you have to contort yourself, but you have to do it in a really awkward position. There we go. Where'd you go? There we go. I really admire plumbers. God. What a job. Get that, all that shite out of there. Okay. Just contort myself like a limbo dancer and get into, and apparently the rule is you hand tighten it, and then you take your adjustable spanner, which of course now doesn't fit because my nut is now much bigger than it was to begin with. Okay, just going to use these pliers then. Oh, they work perfectly. Tighten it up with the pliers or your adjustable spanner. Just another half turn. You don't want it so tight that you can never undo it again. This is going to be where the water's coming in. So this is going to go into the in, and it's a push fit. So it goes in but it won't pull out, but you can release it by pressing down on pressing that little collar down, and then it will release. Other one goes into the out hole. So kind of expecting a satisfying click, but there wasn't one. And then this one goes back onto the original pipe that I undid from the wall outlet. So we've already got the PTFE tape. It's going to go back onto there with the adapter that's made it small. This is the male because it's pokey out going into a hole. Hopefully, if my head out of the way you can see that. Tighten up that one there. Hand tight first. Give it another half turn. Perfect. And there we go. So they've got this little thing on it. Which does it say that? Activate smart buzzer, slide in battery, hold pod button down for 3 seconds until the blue flash, which is what, I hope we saw that, which is what it did. And let's go and turn on the water and see if it's been successful or if I'm going to have a flood and have to call a plumber. I'm to run down to the basement and see if this is going to be a win or not a win. Moment of truth. Is it going to work, or are we going to have a leak? So far so good, no leaking. That's the hot. Cold. So obviously, oh yeah, it's got much heavier because the water's coming out of the wall into this, doing its filtration, and then back up into my tap to give me water which should be chlorine free, free of heavy metals. The reason I chose this water filter was it was in the right cost bracket for me. It says to run it through for a bit, so perhaps change the cartridge, which is just unscrew the bottom and change the cartridge. I can feel the water going through it. You change the cartridge, I think once a year, or when this thing tells you. I'll have to look on their website. But I did it! I fitted the water filter. We have no leaks, no drips, apart from a bit of residual that's coming. So, success. Oh, let's just turn that off. I'm pretty pleased with that. It did take me a lot longer than it was suggested on the box, but they didn't know my pipes were a different size. Neither did I. And I do think Charles Robinson, who founded this company in 2020, you need to improve the instructions. They aren't very easy to understand. And when I opened up your QR code video explanation on my iPhone, it was bigger than my iPhone screen, so that wasn't a lot of help. I had to look on YouTube for people that had done instruction videos, and some of those were just assuming that, you know, I had this prior knowledge of plumbing, which I don't, so which didn't have very much. So there are things to improve. Hidden dangers in tap water. This is why I fitted a water filter, and this is why I filter my water. You need a water filter because of various reasons, which I'm going to explain to you in just a moment. So if you can just hang on and watch for a little bit longer. Hello. What it says on the box is WATER2, Pod 2. Here's how we made it better. Simplicity. Well, Let's take that one with a pinch of salt. But it does say it's equipped with extra long push-fit flexible pipes to create more space for your setup, which it does, so that's good. Look, I've repositioned it to there. So I can fit everything back in the cupboard around it. More power, new technology, further being refined to tackle the most potent issues in your tap water. And in the box, flexible push pipe, smart buzzer to notify me when I need to change the capsule. And I think the replacement, I've seen that the replacement cartridges, they last for 6 months to a year, obviously depending on how much tap water you drink or use. But the good thing with this is it means I can now, I don't have to keep buying Brita water filter replacement filters, and I think that this takes a lot more out of the water than the Brita filters do. It would have been useful if I'd known ahead of time that I needed not just pliers, either a mole grip which grips and then you fix it at that size, or adjustable spanners, and really you need two so you can really do them up, holding both sides of the joint. The PTFE tape wasn't even mentioned, but that was a good idea for me because I added those extra reducers to make the wider pipes on this fit my narrower fittings. So I've just printed this off the internet. Best locations for tap water in the UK: Scotland, Southwest, Yorkshire and the Humber, Northern Ireland and Wales. And the worst locations for UK tap water were East of England, Norwich, East Midlands, Leicester, South East, Southampton, Greater London and West Midlands. So they were the worst 5 places. The most common chemicals in UK tap water include chlorine, and then it goes on to say, I think this was written by somebody from the government, if you spend time at your local swimming pool, you'll know that chlorine is completely safe. Well, that's debatable because actually chlorine isn't completely safe. It goes on to say lime scale, fluoride, lead. Doesn't mention anything about those other chemicals in the water, but if you've got fluoride and lead in your water, then it's pretty important to filter it and take it out. Microplastics may be found in your London tap water, but the concentrations of microplastics in tap water are significantly lower than those found in water from single-use PET bottles. Some studies suggest that on average, bottled water contains around 60 times more microplastics than tap water. So better to filter your water at home, put it through a filter, carry it around in a glass bottle or a stainless steel drinking bottle if you don't want to be constantly drinking microplastics, which will affect your hormones. So a recent study in the US highlighted this critical issue, that 45% of tap water samples contained these persistent organic pollutants and endocrine disrupting chemicals, which means hormone disrupting chemicals. So it's disrupting the hormones in your body, which exist in a very fine balance, and there's very little room for disruption and change there without it messing up your health, to put it into layman's terms. And these chemicals are known as forever chemicals because once they're in your body, they don't come out. They're there for the rest of your life. And these include substances such as the substances found in flame retardants, contribute to infertility and increase your risk of cancer. Yay. So these are some of the reasons why you need to think about filtering your water. And the key findings from that particular study that I was just quoting, when the researchers analysed these 716 water samples from 2016 to 2021, which included 269 private wells and 447 public water supplies across the US, we're talking USA, at least one PFA chemical was detected in 45% of the samples. And the highest concentrations were found in the eastern seaboard, the Midwest and the Southeast. And the health impact of these chemicals is that, as I said, they're linked to infertility, hormonal disruption, they cause cancer, chronic exposure may also contribute to obesity and cardiovascular diseases. So these are all things that are, massive problems maybe just the simple action of changing and putting a filter on your water can protect you from some of these illnesses and these diseases. So there were certain regions like the Midwest and the Southeast, again this is in America, which had the highest exposure to these chemicals, but I'm quoting this US study because I couldn't find one similar that had been done in the UK and or other areas, so this one jumped out at me. And these areas also coincide with high rates of obesity, diabetes, dementia. Lifestyle factors like exercise and diet obviously play a role. Chemical exposure from tap water, but it may be a significant but overlooked contributor. So the Safe Drinking Water Act regulates that only 91 of the 60,000 plus chemicals used in the US. So it only regulates 91 of 60,000 chemicals. So the Safe Water Act in the US isn't even really worth the paper it's written on. And shockingly, no new chemicals have been added to this list since 2000. So they've only, there's 91 approved and the rest of them, go figure. This regulatory gap allows for harmful substances like flame retardants and bisphenols, which again is coming from plastics, to remain prevalent in the US tap water. So for everybody, not just people that live in the US, protecting yourself and the importance of water filtration. So investing in a water filter is crucial to safeguard your health. You think about things like you eat organic food, or you're exercising every day and you're looking after yourself, you're getting fresh air and light and enough sleep and all the things, but you don't filter your tap water or you drink out of plastic bottles every day. It's really worth adding water and safe drinking water to that list of protocols that you should be paying attention to. So your options are countertop filters, under sink systems, filtered water from shops. You can buy filtered water if your budget stretches to it, and take action. Get yourself a water filter. Prioritise the systems that are designed to remove the PFAs, the chlorine, the fluoride and the microplastics, and raise awareness and share this information with friends and family to inspire them to protect their health. And also stay informed. Check your local water reports where you live and get updated on their new research, because your health is worth the investment. With chronic disease and obesity rates rising, reducing exposure to the harmful chemicals in your tap water is just another step towards better health and well-being. It does matter. It really is important. I'm always surprised when people are just drinking tap water, because I stopped drinking it so long ago, and I'm so used to drinking just from my Brita water filter, but I'm so used to drinking the filtered water that I find it really scratchy and horrible in my throat. It gives me a sore throat drinking tap water. Worse in the UK than here in Andorra, but then there's a lot more people in the UK and the water's been recycled through people. They say London water. They used to say years ago that London water had passed through the digestive systems of 7 people before you drink it. Because it's all recycled, it ends up in the sea and then it comes back out again, and it's recycled and purified, and so it goes on. There is a finite amount of water on the earth. There's no more water being made, so of course it's being recycled. That is just the circle of life, isn't it? So that said, I didn't even get my riding boots off. I was going to go and ride the horse this morning, but I thought doing this was more important because I really wanted to get my water filter fitted. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. Please remember to give me a like, subscribe, share this with somebody else that needs to know this information. And I will look forward to making you're really cold, making another health related video for you very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now. Good boy. You're getting cold, aren't you? Come on then, move away.